Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, a little after 7 p.m., a 29-year-old youth in Gorakhpur went on a rampage outside the Gorakhnath mutt. Murtaza Abbasi is the man you see on your screens. An IIT Bombay graduate, a chemical engineer by profession, but yesterday he decided to pick up a sickle, walk up to the Gorakhnath mutt, forcibly try to enter it as he raised religious slogans. Just as the policemen on duty outside the mutt tried to take control of him, stop him and block him from making his way inside the temple, he sliced through the cops, gravely injuring them. He then fled the spot only to be gherawed out by the bystanders and policemen who were now on a mission to stop him. They threw stones at him, but he charged towards them with his sickle. Minutes later, he was pinned down to the ground and apprehended. Listen in to the eyewitnesses who saw it all unfold in a matter of just a few seconds.
अचानक आदमी बड़ा सा हंसुआ लेके अचानक पुलिस वाले पर हमला किया है। पुलिस वाला बचाव करते ही देरी नहीं उसे पटक दिया उठा के। उसमें दूसरा पुलिस वाला आया, उस पर भी हमला किया। उतने में पूरी फोर्स आ गई और
क्यों मार रहा था लोग?
वो मालूम नहीं, वो अचानक हमला किया है सर, अचानक हंसुए से।
देख रही थी क्या?
मेरे सामने का आंखों देखा है सर। वो कम से कम काला सा था और कोई साफ सुथरा नहीं था, थोड़े गंदे में ही था। पुलिस वाले सर 3-4 तो घायल जरूर होंगे, उतना में मैं अपनी जान बचा के खुद एटीएम के अंदर छिपी थी सर।
Hours later, the police handed the probe to the anti-terror squad. Today, the state police came out and said that the Gorakhnath temple attack is being deemed a terror incident. They're also probing if there is a larger conspiracy at play. Sources have also revealed that a possible Nepal connection is under the scanner. So was it a lone wolf attack, or was Murtaza part of a larger group that is targeting the majority community? Listen in to what the ADG Law and Order had to say.
अपने साथियों के साथ मिलकर उस व्यक्ति को काबू किया तथा उसकी गिरफ्तारी की। उस व्यक्ति के पास से जो चीजें बरामद हुई हैं वो उन चीज़ों को देख के लगता है कि एक गंभीर बड़ी साजिश की तैयारी थी और इसमें जैसा कि एसीएस होम साहब ने बताया कि हम लोग इस चीज़ से इनकार नहीं कर सकते कि आज के डेट में ये आतंकी घटना नहीं थी।
The probe still continues, but the incident assumes greater significance because it came a day before the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath, was to visit the mutt. Yogi was scheduled to visit the Gorakhnath mutt, to which he belongs, today during Navratras. But in light of the attack, he made his first pit stop at the hospital where policemen had been injured and had been admitted. Yogi also met those who ensured that Murtaza was stopped at the gates of the mutt and a greater tragedy was averted. The BJP and the right wing claims that Murtaza is a victim of Islamist radicalization. They're also questioning the silence of the opposition parties on this entire matter. The opposition has attacked the Hindu fringe groups for weaponizing Jai Shri Ram and other religious Hindu slogans in the past, but tonight they are maintaining a stunned silence. There is no condemnation for an attack that was unleashed by someone who raised religious slogans while he attacked men in uniform. Listen in to the BJP.
मैं पहले भी कहा हूं कि देश में बढ़ती हुई आबादी मुसलमानों का संकट नहीं है, संकट है उस मानसिकता का, कट्टरपंथी मानसिकता का, जो मानसिकता कभी हिजाब आंदोलन के रूप में देश के अंदर एक ऐसा वातावरण बनाना चाहता है। मैं तो उसे आतंकवादी सोच का हमला कहूँगा। एक पढ़ा लिखा युवक क्या संदेश देना चाहता है, अभी तक कोई टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग, इस पर कोई सवाल नहीं उठाया। राहुल गांधी की जुबान बंद है।
मैं तो कहता हूँ कि पिछली सरकारें जो ट्रेडिशनल वोट बैंक के सहारे चल रही थी, उनका इस भारतीय जनता पार्टी की ऐतिहासिक जीत और ऐतिहासिक मत और ऐतिहासिक रूप से जनता का समर्थन से वो बौखलाए हुए हैं और बौखलाहट का वो केंद्र है। मैं धन्यवाद दूंगा योगी आदित्यनाथ को कि उत्तर प्रदेश को उन्होंने माफिया और गुंडों से, अपराधियों से मुक्त किया है और ऐसे कोई भी मिलते हैं उनके खिलाफ कानूनी कार्रवाई होगी और इसकी मैं घोर निंदा और भर्त्सना करता हूँ।
So the legitimate question on the NewsHour that I want to ask tonight is simply this: does the silence of the lobby expose its hypocrisy? That's the question and the debate. Coming up on the other side, Gorakhnath temple terror. That's the hashtag and the debate coming up.
You're watching the NewsHour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Ishkaran Bhandari, Advocate, Advocate Kapil Madan, Congress supporter, Majid Haidri, political analyst. But my first question goes to Advocate Abhishek Sudhir, political analyst. And Advocate Abhishek Sudhir, I want to ask you, rather stunning silence that one hears from all those who felt Jai Shri Ram was a war cry, wrote a letter to the Prime Minister, no less, saying that Jai Shri Ram has become a war cry. Then another letter that says there is orchestrated hatred in this country and silence is not an option. How come, Abhishek Sudhir, today silence has been chosen as an option? Just because it was a temple where the attack was, or just because an IIT graduate belonging to another religion raised war cries of his religion, and therefore there's no need to raise the issue of Hinduphobia at this point?
Well, what has happened in Gorakhpur obviously is a criminal act. Is it a terrorist act? We don't know yet. I don't think it's been declared a terror attack by the police, by the ADG Law and Order Prashant Kumar either. So we need to wait for there to be an investigation. What is the difference between Karnataka and UP? Is that the general question you're asking in terms of Jai Shri Ram and all of that, right? So, I mean, my answer to that would be, in Karnataka, you saw a systematic campaign by extremist organizations on both sides, by the way. The PFI is an extremist organization, and the Sangh Parivar organizations there, the VHP and the Bajrang Dal, are also extremist organizations. So there it's a campaign being waged by two extremist organizations. What I see today was a stray incident. It has happened. I don't know if it's a terror attack. Let's wait for the police. As far as silence, as far as Jai Shri Ram being a war cry, if people are chanting Jai Shri Ram and attacking a Muslim trader for selling halal, of course we're going to say that's motivated by religion. If this gentleman, you're saying there is some war cry that he has used, whatever the war cry is it motivated by religion? Let's wait for the investigation. That's about it, really.
Okay. Gaurav Bhatia, no need for waiting for any investigation for calling Jai Shri Ram a war cry. But right now, we have to wait for investigations because facts are not known, that religious chants, religious slogan screaming was being done by Murtaza, that somehow has escaped the attention of Advocate Sudhir. Do you think convenient way of explaining the incident in Gorakhnath Mutt?
Navika, sometimes, citizens of our country wonder, ye log itni hypocrisy laate kahan se? I remember during the UP elections, there was an Al-Qaeda module busted very bravely by the UP police. And Akhilesh Yadav came out and said, नहीं, ये निर्दोष हैं, यूपी पुलिस को मैं ट्रस्ट नहीं करता हूँ, खाकी पे मेरा विश्वास नहीं है. Do you know why? The accused persons, the perpetrators of crime, were Muslims. But today, when two brave police persons have got injured, and the accused happens to be a Muslim, who's holding a weapon, happens to be from the premier institute of our country, yet shouting slogans, Allahu Akbar, this lobby will come out to defend such a person. The Tukde Tukde gang, the Award Wapsi gang, the Hindu terror gang today is silent. They are into hibernation. They won't speak a word. seeing the religion of the accused person. But I must say, you know why it's worrisome, I'll tell you. It starts from their political ideology of hatred, where before the elections, these very political parties say, सारे मुसलमान यूनाइट हो जाओ, 20% एक साथ वोट करना, बीजेपी का खात्मा हो जाएगा. They don't succeed in their plan. The people of Uttar Pradesh and other states give them a befitting reply, just like the Lok Sabha elections. Then they come out and then they choose a destination which is revered by the Hindus, the Gorakhnath temple. There is a message. The message is that please, you need to not exercise your rights, not pray to your God, and secularism means only appeasement of the one particular community, that is their vote bank. Today a strong message has been sent, and as we debate, the Chief Minister has gone to Gorakhpur. He is meeting the brave hearts and we all stand with them. But the larger message is, why do you have to be quiet and see the religion of the criminal only because it suits your vote bank politics? Your silence is deafening, is shameful, and people of the country are not going to forgive you for this.
Advocate Kapil Madan, I want to ask you, today Abhishek Sudhir ji says this is one stray incident of crime and therefore we should wait for the investigations. Fair point. But how come Rahul Gandhi says Hindutvavadis always spread hate and violence? Well, you are a Hindu, I am a Hindu, we all spread hate and violence. Then generalizations are all right. Because Hinduon ko generalization karna, that is licensed. But when it happens in Gorakhnath Mutt, then it's a stray criminal incident. Karti Chidambaram, are the 4 Hindutva Nazis planning Holocaust? Gaurav Pandey, Hindutvavadis giving a call for armed violence. Majid Memon, NCP leader, says BJP's anti-Muslim hate behind rise in persecution. I want to ask you, Advocate Kapil Madan, how come all Hindus are bad? And how come this is a stray criminal incident?
Navika ji, I think you're missing the fine distinction. The point that you're trying to make here, I think nobody raised or made a statement that Hindus are bad or whatever.
What does this mean? Hindutvavadis always spread hate and violence. What does this mean? Tell me. Maybe I don't understand English. Maybe only you and Rahul Gandhi do. But please explain to me.
Navika ji, there was a debate on who is, there is a difference between the Hindutva and Hindutvavadi. So what you were talking about, I will give you an example.
मैं साड़ी पहनती हूँ, बिंदी लगाती हूँ, मैं करवा चौथ रखती हूँ, so I'm a Hindutvavadi in your definition.
Navika ji, you remember what has happened at Jantar Mantar? That was Hindutvavadi. No, all Hindus are not like that.
So what happened? So what happened? What happened in Gorakhnath Mutt? Okay, all right. Then what happened in Gorakhnath Mutt today? Was it radical Islamist? Was it radical Islamist or not? Please answer. If that was Hindutvavadi, then today was it radical Islamist or not at Gorakhnath? मुझे इतना बता दीजिए बस. That is my question to you.
Navika ji, I will respond to every question. Do you remember the slogans that were raised from Jantar Mantar? आपको याद है या मैं याद करा दूं?
वो ईसाई वाले.
आपको याद है? I'm asking you a straight question, and I asked this question to Mr. Bhatia also.
My dear Kapil Madan ji, on this show, I ask the questions, you respond to them. It doesn't work the other way.
I will respond to your question.
Yes.
Navika ji. You are conveniently sidelining the larger issues. Now what?
I'm asking you, Jai Shri Ram is a war cry or not? If Jai Shri Ram is a war cry, then everybody, each one of us is an Hindutvavadi.
Let me tell you, when Jai Shri Ram is used with violence, then yes. If Jai Shri Ram is used to pray the God, I will say Jai Shri Ram. I say Jai Shri Ram at my home. But
I don't remember anybody making the distinction in the letter they wrote. I don't remember any distinction being made in the letter that was written to the Prime Minister. ये सारी एक्सप्लेनेशंस अभी क्यों याद आती हैं एडवोकेट कपिल मदान?
सारा ज्ञान तब आता है जब कोई मुस्लिम एक्यूज होता है।
Navika ji, I am not for a minute defending what has happened at Gorakhnath Mandir. I am not defending that.
How very magnanimous of you.
All I am saying.
How very magnanimous of you. Where is the Congress party which is not tweeting anything today?
Tell me something. Where was Mr. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah ji when their own party people were giving open threat for a genocide? Where were Mr. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah when their own leader, Mr. Anurag Thakur, openly said, "Goli maro salo ko"? Where was Mr. Modi and Amit Shah when Kapil Mishra said, "Inko utha lo," and then we will do whatever he wants, and then what happened? We all know.
So where was the Congress party? Where was the Congress party when in 1990 there were slogans in Kashmir and they said, why don't you either convert or leave Kashmir and leave your women behind? Where was the Congress party then? And where has the Congress party been since then for the last 32 years on the issue of Kashmiri Hindus? Please tell me. I'm looking for the address of that tweet or that statement from the Congress party which does not have a bear hug for Yasin Malik. I'm looking for it.
So, Navika ji, now you want to talk about Kashmiri Pandits. We all know it was VP Singh's government when Kashmir Pandits exodus happened. क्या किया इन्होंने बीजेपी ने, आप बताइए, एक्सेप्ट फॉर प्रमोटिंग द मूवी? आप बताएं क्या क्रेडिबल 7 साल से 2014 से ये 2022?
All right, coming to you, Gaurav Bhatia. First to Ishkaran Bhandari, because nobody here wants to admit to the fact that this was not just one stray criminal event. You know, that's how they want to explain this. But everything else is Hindutvavadi.
Navika ji, very interesting. When the debate started, one of your panelists said, "Jai Shri Ram, if it is used for violence, is a hate symbol." But some slogan was used outside Gorakhnath Mandir. Repeat the slogan used outside Gorakhnath Mandir, and that is the reality of the cover-up. Also, let us start step by step. We have been told that if you put computer in one hand, if you educate, there will not be radicalization. Unfortunately, this person is from one of the most premier institutes of India. That did not stop the radicalization. What is the problem here is, certain media will not name him. His name is what? Murtaza Abbasi or something. They will not name him. They will not say the slogan he used. They will try to bring in justification on a topic of an attack on a Hindu mandir. We are discussing what happened in 1990, or we are discussing what happened and who did that in Jantar Mantar, etc. They will not unequivocally condemn the ideology, the mindset, the slogan which was used in attacking a mandir, and that to a Gorakhnath mandir. Probably a frustration because Yogi Adityanath, entire ecosystem trying to cover it, came back with the historic mandate, or probably a terror attack. That is all subject to investigation. But what is not subject to investigation is that 2 brave police officers were attacked. It was the attack on the mandir. Yet nobody is condemning the slogan or the ideology which motivated this attack. And those who are covering the person, they are enabling and entitling such action by these people, and that is the danger to India, done by these so-called intellectuals, so-called people in media, and so-called panelists who are defending this by what about me?
Well, respond, Kapil Madan.
So let me once again clarify to my brother here. I never for a minute defended what has happened at Gorakhnath temple. I have never said that. I mean, that's a gruesome act and I condemned it, and the guilty should not be spared. But at the same time, we should also be mindful of the fact that what BJP's leadership is doing. I mean, their own top leaders on record made, you know, these... I'm sorry?
Can you please tell me, what was the slogan used? Can you please tell me? Because everybody is very comfortable saying... I just want to ask you, what was the slogan used? What was the slogan used in the attack?
I am not for a minute justifying. I am not for a minute disputing. I am saying that whatever has happened in
You can say
so then why no statement saying that this is a war cry when used for violence? Why is it used for one phrase only? And that's the question, Gaurav Bhatia, I want to ask you.
Or if you take any God's name, and do violence in the name of it, and I condemn it unequivocally.
What was the slogan?
Violence will not have.
Gaurav Bhatia has already spoken the slogan, but I
will take a particular God's name.
Your side will keep the slogan used.
I am saying in the name of God, if you do or if you do any kind of violence, that should be condemned in its strictest sense. Nobody is
It's a very simple question. Just tell me the literal slogan used. People want to know the literal slogan used. What is the big deal? Jai Shri Ram,
Navika to play it out.
Literal slogan used.
Navika, I will request Navika to play it out. You have your videos.
I will say that
if you are using the name of God for any kind of violence,
that is the cover-up. Even after the slogan has been played on multiple news reports on channels, you will not repeat it. That is what I wanted to expose, and the audience has seen it.
Gaurav Bhatia, if there is a problem anywhere in this country, the whole thing is due to BJP, due to Modi. That is the blame game that goes on. If there is an attack on Gorakhnath, it's a problem created by the BJP. If there is a Karoli that happens, it's a problem created by the BJP. So the opposition and this lobby, which finds everything wrong with what the BJP does, today suddenly is at a loss for words. Why? Why this selective silence?
Navika, Kapil, who is a colleague at the bar, a very young and promising advocate, could very easily say, Jai Shri Ram is a war cry at times. But even when he was continuously asked by Ishkaran, just repeat the slogan that has been used, and the slogan was Allahu Akbar. He could not even utter. This is the kind of hypocrisy. And to my friend Kapil, I'll tell you, Hindutva described by the Supreme Court as a way of life. Supreme Court felt Hindutva is a way of life. But Rahul Gandhi feels Hindutva is equal to ISIS and Boko Haram. Whereas ISIS, we all know, Allahu Akbar would come closer to ISIS rather than Hindutva. But Rahul Gandhi, because it suits his political narrative, he says that. Navika, these people try to justify even Afzal Guru's, sentence that wo bichara victim hai, judicial killing hai. You know why? Because he was a Muslim. Ishrat Jahan inki beti ban jati hai. Even when we know she had plans of assassinating the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, the current Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. And the reason is very simple. They find religion in everything. They can't even muster the courage to call a spade a spade. A terrorist. If it is a Muslim and he's going against the country, if he's taking law in its own hands, we have to call a spade and not see the religion of the person. But be it Samajwadi Party or the Congress Party, this is the kind of artificial equivalence they try to draw when they even coined the term Hindu terror. Hindu terror kya tha? Nothing. But it was coined at the Congress headquarters because they wanted to appease the Muslims who were found to be terrorists accused in large numbers. And that is shameful.
I want to ask Majid Haidri. Majid Haidri, Kashmir files will create so much hate in this country, so ban Kashmir files. Today, 3 Hindus have been attacked in Kashmir yet again. I want to ask you, did the people who attacked in Karoli and who attacked in Gorakhnath Math all watch Kashmir files and then suddenly get this whole, attack mode in their brains? I want to ask you this.
Navika Saiba, because Gaurav Bhatia ji has been insisting on a religious angle to what happened in Gorakhnath temple. So let me first say that...
Oh, you think that somebody desperately trying to enter the mart, you think somebody carrying a sickle in his hand, you think a man who virtually chopped off two, policemen, you think a guy who was actually from IIT, a chemical engineer, when he was shouting out religious slogans, it was not religious, it was what?
Navika Saiba,
stress,
legally it was...
work stress, what was it? It was not religious?
Navika Saiba, legally it was a case of attempted trespass, so let's not communalize it. But
okay. And the slogans don't matter. The slogans don't matter. The fact that attempted trespass, not even an attempt to murder, not even a 302, but it is attempted.
No, it is attempt to murder.
Attempted trespass and not trespass a place of worship. Not trespass a place of worship, it's just attempted trespass. जैसे मैं आपके गार्डन में सैर करने चली गई थी गलती से अमरूद तोड़ने के लिए, तो ऐसे ही था कुछ, ऐसे ही था ना?
देखिए मैडम, he is believed to be a youth in depression, a jobless youth in depression, so we need to have some soft corner for that issue.
All right.
And let's not communalize it, please. See, Gaurav Bhatia ji, give me 30 seconds, sir. We believe in Quran, which says Lakum Dinukum Waliyadin, for you your religion, for me my religion. We believe in mutual coexistence and self-respect for each other's religion. So we never attempt to such kind of thing. It has nothing to do with Islam what happened there. Sir, see, it is the failure of... It is the failure of
joblessness. It is stress of joblessness. It is stress of joblessness that caused this, Gaurav Bhatia. I really have run out of any argument on this one.
Who demolished Babri Masjid? Please enlighten me. Were they terrorists? Will you call them terrorists? Who were behind the Makkah Masjid blast? Will you call them terrorists? Who were the people who attacked the church in Roorkee last year? Were they terrorists? Who were the people who vandalized 24 masjids and dargahs in Delhi during Delhi riots? Please enlighten me, Gaurav Bhatia ji. You are a worthy lawyer. Please enlighten the nation.
What did Majid Hydari say? Majid Hydari, please listen to me. Yes, I will. Majid Hydari, just because somebody is jobless, he would attack police officers. He would take a sickle in his hand and try to kill people just because somebody is jobless. This is the kind of philosophy that Rahul Gandhi teaches. He said,
it is for the medical authorities to decide. We don't know his state of mind, sir. You are a worthy lawyer. Please understand the situation.
I am asking
you. Did you question the state of mind before labeling people as Hindu terror groups? Did you think of any state of mind before labeling people belonging to Hindu terror groups? State of mind
I
पूछा था?
don't need to think on that because Justice
state of
Independent
mind
Commission
पूछा था?
has convicted everybody from
did you
Muslim
ask
to LK Advani
state
for
of mind? No, I want to just respond. Did you ask the state of mind of Sadhvi Pragya then? You call her a terrorist every other day. Did you ask her state of mind before labeling her as such?
Hemant Karkare had clarified on that she was the mother of separate terrorists, not he had said that.
Navika,
so that is first thing.
State of mind. State of mind. Ishkaran Bhandari, I want to ask you a simple question. 32 years Kashmiri Hindus have been sent out of their homes.
Yes.
They were jobless, their land went, their homeland went. How come nobody has picked up a sickle and gone to various religious sites and started chopping off people? How come?
Navika,
state of mind?
Navika, two short points. Firstly, it is despicable to call an attack on a mandir as an attempted trespass and to say have sympathy not for the brave police officers injured, but the criminal and a potential terrorist. We are supposed to have sympathy for a terrorist because he's a headmaster's son. We are supposed to have terrorists because they don't have jobs. We are supposed to have sympathy for everybody who does terror on a mandir or on a Hindu, but we are never supposed to.
Please enlighten me.
Don't interrupt me, please. Don't interrupt me, Navika. Please shut it down. I need to answer this.
Please.
Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. I'm giving you all the.
I'm not interrupting. Kindly enlighten me.
Navika, the reality is in this nation, on camera, in a case, please don't interrupt. On camera, in a case, there are 2 police officers injured where there is an attack on Gorakhnath Mandir. There are people whitewashing and asking sympathy for the terrorists. Now imagine all that happened in Kashmir when there were not video cameras. Imagine all that happened over the last 70 decades where the entire ecosystem was busy whitewashing the way Mr. Hydri is busy whitewashing. People
completely. And Abhishek Sudhir, I want to ask you, do you also think what happened at Gorakhnath Mutt tonight was attempted trespass?
No, of course not. It was more serious than attempted trespass. It was, you
How
could
much
actually
more
say
serious,
it's attempted murder.
2 degrees,
look,
3
we're
degrees?
all lawyers and we're all advocates on this panel. Sorry?
I said how much more serious? You said
Sorry?
a little more serious.
I didn't get your question. Well, attempt to murder does not have any degrees. It's an offense which has just 1 degree. It's an attempt to murder. We can't charge him with murder because nobody died. So attempt to murder is the most serious offense he can be charged with. I mean, you've been saying the lobby is silent, but I think Kapil Madan, Hydri, Mr. Hydri and me are members of this lobby. I don't know where it exists and where we meet, but apparently we are members of this lobby. We're not being very silent, are we? We are coming here, we are putting forth our views, and we are unequivocally condemning this criminal act. My question is, Yati Narsingh Anand, is Gaurav Bhatia ready to condemn Yati Narsingh Anand as a terrorist? I know when Gaurav Bhatia was SP spokesperson, he would have condemned Yati Narsingh Anand. I don't think he would do that today. He made a direct attack on me saying that I wasn't saying Allahu Akbar. The only reason I didn't say Allahu Akbar is because I'm a Ram Bhakt and I believe Ram is the greatest. That's the answer.
And is Jai Shri Ram a war cry?
But you know, this is the problem.
Is Jai Shri Ram a war cry?
Is Jai Shri Ram a war cry? Let me answer that question. Navika. I don't say Jai Shri Ram, I say Jai Ram Ji Ki. That's how we greet people in my family. We say Jai Ram Ji Ki. We don't say Jai Shri Ram because Jai Shri Ram is a political slogan. Now, is it a war cry? When the Babri Masjid was brought down, people said Jai Shri Ram. When the hijab controversy was happened and those girls were being harangued and heckled, people said Jai Shri Ram. When the Muslim traders were attacked, people said Jai Shri Ram. In Godhra in 2002, when the riots happened in Gujarat, people said Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram has become a political slogan. It is not a reflection on Ram Ji. It's Ram ka naam which has,
Gaurav Bhatia, Jai Shri Ram is now a political. Kapil Madan, you won't differ. Or do you also think Jai Shri Ram is a political slogan?
Can I respond?
I will just reiterate my stand here. If you take any god's name for the purpose of striking any kind of violence, I mean, that could not be in the name of the god.
Do you condemn what Murtaza Abbasi did today?
I condemn any violence in the name of God.
Do you think this was an attack? Do you think this was an attack on a religious place, or do you also think it is just attempted trespass?
No, I certainly disagree with what the learned fellow panelist said, that it is only an attempted trespass. There is definitely.
And do you think that was a sign of Hinduphobia?
So there is something.
Do you think it was a sign of Hinduphobia?
Well, I think it could be, and it should be investigated. If it is so, in fact,
Islamophobia बिना investigation के certify हो जाता है. Hinduphobia में investigation is important. Gaurav Bhatia, case proved. Islamophobia needs no investigation. You can just call everybody Islamophobic in this country. You can call them Hindutvavadis who always spread hate and violence. But you can't call anybody Hinduphobic. You can't call them that. Gaurav Bhatia, respond to Kapil Madan.
Navika, at the very outset, I would commend Kapil Madan as well as Abhishek Sudhir for at least mustering the courage to say that this is condemnable. But what about the leaders of the party they sympathize with? Rahul Gandhi has not tweeted today.
What about you condemning Yati Narsingh Anand?
And
do you have a spine to condemn Yati Narsingh Anand?
Can you be quiet? Can you be quiet?
Kapil Madan and I condemned the incident. Can you condemn Yati Narsingh Anand? Are you ready to call him a terrorist?
Wait for a while, even being the official spokesperson. You know, I'll tell you,
are you ready to call him a terrorist?
When you interrupt and barge in and heckle, it is cheap tactics. You know,
yes, you were the official spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. You were the official spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party.
Be quiet.
For 10 long years. For 10 long years, you were a spokesperson of the party that you vilify every day on national TV.
And I pity you that you couldn't become one. And I pity you couldn't become one.
Well, I'm dictating.
Yes, I'm very happy.
So it's up to you whether you want to be dictated to or not.
Navika, please. Please ask him to be quiet.
Yes.
I don't want to come to his level.
May 1 minute, Abhishek Sudhir, please, 1 minute. 30 seconds to you, Gaurav Bhatia.
Yes, thank you. You know, I think a spade needs to be called a spade. You know, this artificial equivalence, Hindu terror is also there, Islamic terror is also there. No Hindu or any organization has ever brought down twin towers saying Jai Shri Ram. There is no city in the world which has seen a terrorist attack where the attackers are Hindus and they've said Jai Shri Ram.
You brought down a mosque saying Jai Shri Ram.
Please be quiet.
You brought down a mosque saying Jai Shri Ram.
Please be quiet.
Yeah, you have spent. You have
you were in the SP back then.
You have spent 30.
You were in the SP back then.
You have spent 30 years condemning that. However, you find absolutely no time to condemn the fact when there is a battle cry that is made with other religious slogans, and that just displays your double standards, Abhishek Sudhir. That is the question that we started with, and that is what we have proved, that when it comes to Islamophobia, you will label everybody as suffering from Islamophobia, but when it comes to Hinduphobia, your lips are sealed, you find no words, and you just look for one bahana or the other, one excuse or the other. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the problem of this lobby which cannot find words to condemn what happened in Gorakhnath Mutt yesterday. I'll leave the debate there. Thank you to all my panelists for joining me on debate number 1.